Hi everyone, welcome to Movie Reviews with Kimberly. Today I've got some very special guests with me. We are going to go over Captain America the Winter Soldier. So I just want to introduce everybody right now. I'm going to start with Chris. Chris, say hi everybody.
Hello.
Alright, next we've got Jason from The Nerd Truth. Jason, say hi.
What's up, guys?
Next we've got Matt from Blerds on Nerds. Matt, what's up?
What up?
Sorry.
Next, you've got Natty Willie, Natasha from The Nerd Element. Say what's up, Natasha.
What up?
And finally, last but not least, you have Lana from Blerds on Nerds and The Nerd Element. Say what up, Lana.
What it do? What it do? Okay.
All right, and we do have somebody joining us later on. So Antonio, when he gets on, I will introduce him. But let's get started for right now. So, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, guys. I saw it just in regular 2D, blah blah, Dolby Atmos though. Any of you see it in 3D?
Yes. Yep. IMAX. Yeah.
Okay, so
3D.
Chris, we'll start with you. What did you see it in?
IMAX 3D.
IMAX 3D, and how was that?
It's Marvel movie. You need it the bigger and louder you can. I need the big screen with the loud sound blowing me away the whole movie.
Yeah.
See, now I feel bad about myself.
You should.
Right.
That's fine.
Jason, what about you?
Full 3D.
Yeah. Hey, so was this movie like shot? Because some movies are actually shot for 3D. You can kind of tell, but I didn't feel like this movie was shot for 3D. But I don't know. You guys saw it in 3D. What did you? I mean, did you think it was shot for 3D, Jason?
No, I didn't at all. I think it was just converted afterwards.
Yeah. All right. Matt, what about you?
I saw it twice, and I saw it in 2D. The second time I was thinking about seeing it in 3D, but I learned that it wasn't filmed for 3D. It was post-production, so it seems like a waste of money.
Yeah. Okay. So that's same with me. Well, I didn't know that, but I just saw it twice in 2D, and I was feeling bad about myself. Hey, Natty Willie, Natasha, what did you see it in?
I saw it in 2D, and I enjoyed it in 2D. I don't really need to see it in 3D. I was cheap anyway, so,
And last but not least, Lana?
I saw it in 3D. I don't go to the Fake Max by where I live. So I just saw it in XD, which is the same size screen. It's just a different company, and it was 3D.
Right, and you enjoy it?
I did. When I go see it again, haven't had time yet, but when I go see it again, I'm not going to do 3D again. I agree that it's not really necessary for this one. So,
Okay.
But it was still fun. It was a good time.
So overall impressions, guys, and I'll pick on Matt first. Overall impression of this Captain America. I mean, compared to the first Captain America, compared to all the Marvel movies, movie in general, just what did you think?
Well, I am not a fan of Captain America. Well, now I am. But out of all Marvel characters, he's my least favorite. I think he's very boring, even though he has superpowers. But anyway, out of all the Marvel movies, I feel like this is on par with the Avengers. I thought it was just excellent from start to finish. The beginning had a very Bond feel to it. The first 5 minutes, to me, put the first movie to shame. Even though the first movie wasn't bad, but I just thought it was just one of the most impressive movies. Yeah, I thought Captain America 2 was one of the most impressive movies. It set up for a lot for the Marvel Universe Phase 2.
All right. Well, what about you, Jason?
I absolutely freaking loved it. I think it was probably Avengers is always going to be the top #1 movie, just because it did something that no other movie ever did before, like bringing all those elements together. But story-wise, this was written, edited, the soundtrack. This was an excellent movie, and it's in my opinion, my second favorite Marvel movie, and I think it was probably the best action movie in the past decade. Matt mentioned Bond. I thought more of the Bourne movies. Like, it felt like it was a Bourne movie, like the Bourne Identity, but it had superpowers, and not even really superpowers. It took place in that world, and it just, for me, was firing on all cylinders. Like, it really worked.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm agreeing with both of you. Lana, what about you?
I echo both their sentiments. I mean, honestly, you know, I was thinking, and I watched Avengers like later the same day because I needed a little bit more Marvel in my life, and it's interesting because at the time, I mean, Joss Whedon sets the bar really, really high, and you know, Avengers was like hands down. I was like, this is it, it's the best, and then Captain America comes out, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know, I knew it was going to be good, but I liked the first Captain America too, but I was so surprised at how good it was. I'm like, oh, it'll at least be as good as the first one, but I never ever expected to be comparing it with the Avengers. I just did not expect that, and I'm still kind of blown away. I find myself thinking about it at odd moments of the day when I'm supposed to be working. It's like, you know, it's just, oh my gosh.
Okay, Chris, what about you?
I was thinking, like what Jason's saying, this is like the Bourne movie of the Marvel movies, especially at the beginning when he's running across the ship and just takes out all the guys one by one. I was feeling like the Jason Bourne kind of fight scenes. And then it goes from just the small scale that we had in the first Captain America, bringing everything up to the present, which is what you're really waiting to see. The first one felt like so much just set up for what happened in this one.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. And Natasha?
I enjoyed it. It's funny because I rarely see movies twice in the movie theater these days, and this one I will definitely go see this weekend because it was that good. Yeah, the action was awesome. Like, I thought the choreographing of the fight scenes was just brilliant, and just the character development was great as well, and I just overall enjoyed it. So
I really like this movie, and it's not because of just Sebastian Stan or Chris Evans. I mean, I like this movie because it just, yeah, I know. It's set up so much. Like, it set up Avengers, it set up S.H.I.E.L.D., or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Yes.
and I just couldn't get over the fact that I was sitting there watching this and knowing what I know watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and seeing how this was playing out. Like I said, light bulbs were going off in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, when does that ever happen? And so the second time I went back, I was like, I need to go back to actually watch this movie because I was just so, like, this the first time. There's things that I missed. I know that there's things that I missed, and all the Easter eggs in it, and we're going to get into that here in a second, but Marvel is just good about throwing things out there to use later on if they see fit, and it's amazing to me. But bringing us into Easter eggs, guys, and there was a lot of them in this movie, and I've got to admit that I did not catch all of them the first go-round. I caught some of the basic ones, like I heard Doctor Strange's name when he mentioned it, Stephen Strange, and maybe because I was listening for that. So, I mean, what do you guys think this means? The fact, I mean, is it just something that he threw out there, Sidwell threw out there, just naming him off, or do you think there was a renamed Stephen Strange? I don't know. Matt, what do you think?
Well, as a huge Marvel stan, I have been waiting for, like, as soon as that Easter egg was dropped, I was extremely excited. The president of the Marvel Studios has been very adamant that he's a huge Doctor Strange fan and that he really wants this movie to happen. So I feel like he was one of the people that was instrumental in having at least that be introduced just to set up for a Doctor Strange / Phase 3 to come in, which it all plays into like the Infinity Gems and Infinity Gauntlet and all that, but I'm very excited for that to happen.
Yeah, I'm. I don't know. Have they actually? They haven't come out and said yes, we're doing this movie yet, have they?
Well, Kevin, I think his last name is Feige.
It's Feige.
Okay. Feige.
Yeah.
So they do. It is a fact that they are meeting with some actors to cast for the role of Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange, but he has come out and confirmed that all the people that are rumored they have not met with. and that they're continuing their search, but nothing is set in stone of the casting, but they're definitely going to do that movie.
Right, I'm excited about that. I mean, I could go down and list the different Easter eggs, but why don't we do this? Why don't you guys tell me what was your favorite? Why don't you tell me what was your favorite, or what you noticed, or and what you kind of want more info on, or what you liked? I will start. Okay, Lana, I see you raising your hand.
And mine is so. And here's the thing. Matt's gonna laugh at me. Mine is so unimportant in the grand scheme of things. It's such like a girly thing, but
Say it.
I know I have to. So because Black Widow was wearing, she was wearing the Arrow necklace, and I mean, I've always said I love Hawkeye. I love Hawkeye, and with their history and stuff like that. A long list of information that I've read online, it was probably a nod to him as far as her wearing the necklace and stuff like that, because they've had like an on again, off again thing. And so that's probably the first thing I noticed. There was other things, but that's the first thing I noticed like early on, because I thought it was weird she was wearing jewelry.
I did not notice that at all. I'm a horrible person, and I've seen this movie twice.
Really?
I was not paying attention to Scarlett Johansson.
I didn't notice it the first time until Lana told me, and when I went to go see the movie the second time, I looked for it.
Did you? I'm so mad at myself, and that's an excuse to see it a third time, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. You have to, because then it's like, oh, it puts everything in a new light.
All right, Chris. What about you? What is one of the Easter eggs you saw and liked?
I do like that they were setting up that there is an Avengers Tower. Getting to see that, even if it's just a hologram, for half a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do the after credits count as an Easter egg?
Oh, hell yeah!
I'm liking the Scarlet Witch. I'm liking the Scarlet Witch more than I thought I was going to like Scarlet Witch.
Sorry.
Matt loves
She
that.
was creepy as hell.
Man, I am... Sorry,
It looks like Antonio just joined us. Antonio.
Antonio.
What's up? We are just going over right now some of our favorite Easter eggs that we found in there. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Antonio. I'm going to ask you what are some of the Easter eggs that you found in Captain America, one of your favorites.
Well, of course, the Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange one was just, I already knew about the Quicksilver Scarlet Witch thing because of the little spoiler thing, so I kind of already knew about that. But I didn't know that they had Loki's staff.
No,
Right.
I didn't either. That is a good one too. I have questions about that. Like, what was that gem that was in the middle of it?
Yeah.
Do you guys know what that was?
It's an Infinity Gem.
It's the
Mind Gem.
Yes, the Mind Gem.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert, there's 3 out of 6 Infinity Gems that have been captured or grabbed.
I thought that. I read that and I was like, All right, Jason, what about you?
I don't know if I just pick one. Like, I just overall like the fact that they dropped the Easter eggs to begin with, that it adds to a greater whole. Like, seeing Avengers Tower right there, you immediately think of Avengers. You think of going forward. You see, what's his name? Gary, not Gary Sinise, Gary Shanley, Senator Stern again. That makes you think about Iron Man. Just all these little things, and it doesn't feel gimmicky. And I know that was something we all complained about in the beginning of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that when they did their like shout-outs to the greater Marvel Universe, it felt very gimmicky. Like, oh yeah, there goes Thor again. These just felt like natural, and it made you feel like, just like with the comic books, like when you would read a Spider-Man comic book and he would swing past the Baxter Building, all right, they place in the same world. Like, I love the fact that the movies do that, and pick one, obviously it's going to be the after credit scene, the first one. The whole thing, the way it's like, I think the actor who played Strucker said something like the age of spies and soldiers are dead, now it's the age of miracles. Like, he was basically saying, like, we're closing the book on what came before, and now we're going forward to what's coming next, and I'm very excited about what's coming next.
I thought that was very interesting that he used the term miracles. I didn't know that Marvel lost the ability to use the word mutant.
Yep.
I thought that was very interesting because I mean, when he said, like, I was waiting for him to say Age of Mutants, and as soon as he said miracles, I instantly Googled, and I guess in that contract, they lose the right to use mutants because then you're bringing in, you got to pay 20th Century Fox, you got to pay them.
Oh, boo.
And this is where I get on my soapbox and I have to vent because I feel like that right there is ruining. I'm such an X-Men fan. I mean, that's what got me into comics, and I feel like this whole 20th Century Fox owning X-Men and Marvel not owning, well, okay, Disney owns Marvel, but they don't own all of the Marvel characters. It just irritates me beyond belief because I was looking at Quicksilver and I was looking at Scarlet Witch and I was comparing it to what I saw from the X-Men movie, and I'm like, that is so much better. Like, that version, I want a Disney-fied Quicksilver, obviously, and I didn't think that would ever come out of my mouth, but it just did. Because their version looks so much better, and the whole thing, like, it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry.
I find it really interesting that in how there was a loophole for Marvel and 20th Century Fox to be able to use both those characters. I found that interesting. Like, how did everyone overlook that? And I'm sure Marvel's kicking themselves in the butt, knowing that they didn't know what they know now about how big this franchise would be, and 20th Century Fox were trying to play catch-up the entire time. But I feel like as big as the Marvel Universe is, they could do so many things, especially with, like, the turnover of the Avengers. I mean, the Avengers is always cycling out team members. Not everyone is there permanently. Maybe Captain America / Iron Man, but there's constant new Avengers, Secret Avengers, Dark Avengers. That the story is endless.
Yeah, that is true, and I need to get back to. I'm sorry, Natasha. I need to get to you too. What Easter egg?
I mean, Chris already said it. Like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I got a little excited about that. Just again, like you said, Kim, it looked a lot better than what we were looking at with the X-Men. So I was just a little bit excited about that. Yeah,
definitely. I want to talk about some of the characters, though, that they kind of opened up for maybe later use. Like, Emily Vancamp is a pretty well-known actress, and she didn't really have a major part as Agent 13, but I felt it was interesting that they made a point to say her first name was Sharon. And so I don't know. What do you guys think? It's funny because she works on the ABC lot, and so does S.H.I.E.L.D. Part of the time anyway, so I'm wondering if she will ever show up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just because, you know, they're on the same channel and they film near each other at certain times of shooting. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll ever see more of Sharon Carter there? Anybody? Okay, let's say Chris.
I don't know if necessarily on S.H.I.E.L.D., but I would say she would be back. I think that's too big of a character in the Cap mythos to just have a brief thing of her and not bring her back for at least the third movie, if nothing else.
Definitely, because that's a pretty big actress. And you guys, when I'm like asking a question like that, if you have something to say, just go ahead and start talking. It's fine. I don't care.
Well, isn't she the Lois Lane to him? Like, she's his love interest, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, definitely. But I mean,
we could see her on. I don't see why we couldn't see her on S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, you know, for a couple of times, if Samuel L. Jackson can be on S.H.I.E.L.D., and I don't know, there could be just a story arc with her, you know, so it can be something. I think it's definitely doable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just because she does television on a regular basis, like she does television on a constant basis versus movies, where you see Samuel L. Jackson is not really on TV. He does a lot of movies. You're never going to get Chris Evans on there because he doesn't even want to act anymore. So it's like,
don't get me started on that. Do not get me started on that.
Yeah, I'm like, and that brings me to another thing, guys. Like, what he doesn't want to act past his contract. So for Captain America, I don't know. What do you think about the Winter Soldier kind of taking up the reins? I mean, you think that's possible? Because
yeah,
Sebastian's already said,
Isn't it in the comics? Did Winter Soldier take over as Captain America?
Yes, he did.
For a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
But
so
so
then
did the Falcon too. The Falcon took over when Captain America.
But not as Cap.
Then I thought
Falcon kind of helped
didn't he
fill in
impersonate him?
yeah.
Did he not impersonate him at all? I thought that's what I heard. I don't read Captain America, but
I think that was the significance of him wielding Cap's shield for that few seconds, was that they were alluding to he's going to be Cap because the shield fits.
does this how long is Chris Evans' contract? Is it through 4 movies?
It's through Avengers 3.
3 more
Yeah.
Yes.
So through
Three
all
more.
3 phases. Okay.
3 Cap, 3 Avengers.
Okay.
And the actor playing Winter Soldier, what is Sebastian Stan? I think?
Sebastian Stan.
Stan.
He signed up for 9 movies, so that
Oh.
goes well past Evans' contract. So he could definitely pick up the shield ability.
I mean, it
Well,
makes
I'm hoping.
I don't want to see another actor. I don't want to see, I hate this word, reboot or anything like that. I would love to just have them continue on and kind of just keep on developing the story instead of just trying to replace people. And I think they can do that with with the universe that they've set up.
9 movies. My goodness.
Did you really sign up for that? Not that I don't believe
I thought it was
9 movies
6.
sounds like a lot.
9 movies.
There's 9.
You know, the foresight, though, with, like I said, Disney has blown me away with their ability to foresight everything. I would
Well-
believe it.
Well, the other reason was the whole renegotiating Robbie Downey Jr.'s contract. So they were figured, we're not going to go through that again, so you need to sign on for tons of movies.
But it also makes sense. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., albeit is an excellent Tony Stark. I mean, he was really born to play that role, but he is older, and just like Hugh Jackman, he's not going to be playing that role forever. So it will come to an end. I mean, he didn't necessarily have a diva moment like Chris Evans is having, but eventually eventually Robert Downey Jr. will retire. I mean, he will step down. So it's kind of interesting how Disney is like the Apple of movies. Like, they're just really like planning so well ahead. Like, just in this, how they're going to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and how they're just building up this universe. I just think, and everyone is playing catch up to even be like them.
They're too far ahead for anybody to even, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my DC and all, but it's just not going to happen. I mean, what Marvel has done and the foresight and the way they've just linked everything together, that's not going to happen.
And I'm not like, I have nothing against DC, albeit I've definitely leaned towards Marvel, but with DC has, like, what 20th Century Fox has done with X-Men 1, 2, and 3, and then into First Class, and then into Days of Future Past, and they're saying this is a complete continuity. It's like, I feel like people are just really rushing and putting the cart in front of the horse, and they're not really learning from how Marvel is doing it. It's okay to make mistakes, but I feel like everyone is just rushing to be like Marvel instead of just being like DC or being like 20th Century, being like Sony, and really developing that universe that you bought, because you bought that universe to really, really raise it and nourish it and make it into something great.
Yeah, because Marvel didn't rush. This wasn't something that they said, "Oh, let's hurry up." But there was some thought and there was some planning for years that's gone into this. It's not something that, well, okay, so we're not going to do a second Man of Steel. We're just going to put everybody in the second one. I mean, and it's just so yeah. They need to take a page, take a note,
Right.
do something.
If Captain America or Chris Evans is leaving, do you think they'll kill off Captain America so somebody can take over? And if they do kill him off, who do you think it's going to be? Because we have seen they did introduce some people in this Captain America that could possibly do it. And I don't know from the comics, because I didn't read Captain America, so I don't know who kills off Captain America, because I know he does die off.
Isn't it Crossbones that kills him?
That's what I was thinking.
Agent 13 did the kill shot.
Yeah, Agent 13 did the kill shot for Civil War.
That hurts.
Really quick, I have a question about that.
Yeah, that is gonna hurt.
That's one of my favorite eras in Marvel. Like, did anyone else kind of? I felt that when Black Widow was being questioned by the government, that was kind of like a setup, like a very small setup for Civil War. But just because their fear of like how S.H.I.E.L.D. was taken over and how these mutants or powerful people were stepping into the universe, and humans were scared that they would be taken over. I feel like that was just a very small Easter egg of what where Marvel could take the movies or the stories.
I could kind of see that. I saw that going back to Iron Man 2 with the government trying to get him to turn over his suit.
Right.
That could lead into a civil war, and this even builds on to that.
It'd be cool. I mean, 'cause that's one of my favorite arcs.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, like I said, we saw Crossbones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They draw, and they made a point to show us that he was alive before that movie was over. So, and I think he signed up for more movies, didn't he? I thought I remember reading that he did. So, I don't know. They definitely left it open, which is, gosh, Marvel. I don't know. I can tell you that this is probably shaping up to be like, I'm really excited to see the next Avengers. Like I thought I was excited, but I'm really, after this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like awesome. They're still filming it, and I'm just like tap dancing.
I think it's really interesting. I saw an interview with Scarlett Johansson when she was on like the red carpet for the premieres, and she had mentioned that how during the filming of Avengers 2, there's a lot of questions that will be answered, like where was Hawkeye during all this? Where was Banner during all this? She was like, this is definitely going to be Avengers 2 is definitely going to be a lot darker. It's going to be a lot grittier. You know, it's not rainbows and happy endings, and you will definitely get a lot of answers to where everyone was, because she said there's a reason why people didn't show up in Iron Man or in Captain America 2, and even though you're in the same area or same city.
I think some of the reasoning during that is everybody was dealing with their own stuff at probably like the exact same time.
Right.
But they did say that the whole Captain America 2 only took place in 3 days. This happened in 3 days.
Good grief.
Yeah, I just read that this movie took place over the span of 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot of stuff that can happen in 3 days.
Right? Have you seen the show 24? You see what happens in 24 hours?
That
No,
is
really not, because I'll be starting to watch it when it comes back on. I don't even know, I've never watched it, really.
So between Avengers, so far we have Avengers, we have Thor, to Iron Man 3, and Captain America. Like, has anyone documented the time span between Avengers 1 and those 3 movies?
that would be interesting.
Well, now I'm
I
gonna.
didn't really mention what
now
kind of
I'm
time
gonna do it.
frame. Yeah, like it's interesting because you would have thought they would have at least mentioned, okay, this is what Tony's doing, or I've heard from Tony, he just got back from recovering from whatever. I would have thought they would have at least mentioned something like that, or even Thor, even. Like, I don't know.
Now I have to watch them all over again.
But I mean, doesn't it make you curious? I mean, even when like the helipad, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helipad or whatever, when they showed that really quick glimpse of Stark Towers or Avengers Towers, like it made me instantly curious. It's like we are literally knocking on Tony's door. Like, where is he?
Well,
I don't know, but we'll find out. Go ahead,
He
Jason.
was in Avengers Tower.
No,
You can see the little.
I was just going to say, based on watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we know that time frame, that we know that last week's episode when Sitwell left to go to the boat, we know the boat picked up from Captain America, and if we can match up those timelines, then we know that Thor: The Dark World already happened because of all the stuff with Sif. So the only one that really we're not sure about is Iron Man 3, but I would assume if this takes place after Iron Man 3, he has no armor at this point. So yeah, he might have been in New York, he might have been in Stark/Avengers Tower, but if he has no new armor, there's nothing he can do except like make a phone call. Like, he has no suit.
Well, it has to happen after Iron Man 3 because they had Extremis in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
True, that's a good point.
Well, and also, like, they did at least do a little mention of him, like, fixing their propellers because of his experience from the Avengers.
Right.
So, yeah, but that was, like, the only mention from Tony.
Just stop and take a listen to like the conversation that we just had, where you're talking about doing a timeline based on a television show. It literally, I cannot believe it.
I know.
It's just the coolest thing ever. And I know that's what they wanted. They're like, people are going to do this, and they're going to completely geek out. And yes, they did. I did.
Correct.
I think it's really cool. I mean, even though I apologize, but I'm not a huge fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I keep trying to give it a chance over and over. My opinion is off the market, but I really do love what Marvel has done with that show, because that show really is a central hub, or like a really big clock of what's going on in the Marvel universe. I mean, DC doesn't have that. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it would probably be cool. I mean, we do have Arrow and we'll have Flash, but it's not really providing a timetable of what is going on, versus Marvel is doing, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and bringing it all together. But one question I do have about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, Captain America had stated in the movie that he wanted to take down S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, because of like the morality issue, which I really do like about Captain America, and how he wants to just get rid of it all. With S.H.I.E.L.D. being gone, use that in quotes, like is that a setup for like Tony Stark to step in, or for them to get private funding? Because who's paying the Avengers? Like because the Avengers is an initiative, right? It's a government project, right? So, and it was funded and started by S.H.I.E.L.D. So if S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone, whether temporarily, who is funding this initiative?
Well, I think that brings us into like a good segue here about what we think this movie and the implications of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because that might get answered there for all we know. I can't believe that I would say maybe we need to wait to see what's going to happen on a TV show in order to answer that, but maybe you have to wait to see what's going to happen on this TV show the next couple of weeks. That might tell us which,
Nick Fury is making another appearance on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So.
The finale, yeah.
In the finale, yeah.
How many weeks do we have? When is the finale?
May 13th.
May 13th?
I plan on watching the rest of it, of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because I do want to see the impact that it has on the show, which is kind of great, because it's like, this movie ends, and like we've all seen it, or most of us have seen Captain America twice, so obviously we want more, so it's kind of cool that you can like, there won't be another Captain America for 2 years, but I can go and watch this TV show, and it's like picking up where the movie left off.
Yeah. That's very cool.
You think? I mean, they went out of their way to name that the Lemurian Star, right? So I don't know if it's just because they're like, we're going to throw that in there, and millions of geeks across the world are going to be like, ha ha ha, I know what that is. Or do you think they're trying to tell you that, hey, that might not be a Kree on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I would like to know. I don't know. I would like to know where they're kind of going with that. Anybody have an opinion?
Well, a lot of these Easter eggs, a lot of them have really gone nowhere, too. Like, if you look at the end of Iron Man 2, when Nick Fury's talking to Tony, there's a map behind him that has all these events of superheroes around the world, and it includes Wakanda and Atlantis on the map. But we've gone nowhere with a Black Panther or a Namor movie so far.
Yeah. We might, though. That's the thing. Like, I just feel like it might be in their book, as they might be showing you this is like a glimpse of Marvel's book that they've got planned out until 2040. Like.
But also, I mean, Black Panther is part of the X-Men, so unfortunately, as much as I would love.
No,
Black Panther's not X-Men, isn't it?
He's owned under that universe, is he not? Or I could be wrong. I'm just guessing.
You're wrong.
Like,
Yeah, I don't think so.
oh, sorry.
They've talked about doing a movie with him. They just haven't done it yet. He's more Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, they'll probably get. It's probably on the list.
Well, because Wakanda is a place that has the vibranium, so I would think that Marvel would own that, or else they couldn't have set that for Captain America.
That's true, and also Black Panther's tied to he has a strong impact on Falcon, Sam Wilson. So, and the technology that he provided Sam Wilson for his wings. So that is a big impact too for the future of Sam Wilson's character.
That's interesting.
It's just
That's really interesting.
At least, I mean, in the original story of Sam Wilson, he had Wakandan technology that was given to him by Black Panther for those wings. So, I mean, they could go there, because his wings were technically destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a point to say that there was only one pair of wings left.
Yeah, they did make a point to say that. And Disney needs to just find a way, because it just irritates me too much, but they need to find a way to get Marvel back under their house. Like I don't get, just throw money at 20th Century Fox. They've got enough at it. Just keep throwing it.
They should take all that
Unending amount
Star
of
Wars
money.
money they're about to make and go pay for.
For real.
Well, they did, like, even like the cast of Spider-Man 2, like they had came out, which I know they're not business people, but they came out so they would love to do a crossover, or go back to their parents of Marvel and do like a crossover movie. And
wow, oh gosh, I would die.
what's his name? Andrew Garfield said that it just, I don't know how much he knows, but he said on the record that it just didn't work out. So clearly, I'm sure somebody talked, and it just, whether there was money or they couldn't come to an agreement, it just didn't work out.
I know, and somebody needs to do something for the greater good. They just need to chalk it up
Greater good.
and
But I
pay
think-
the money and be done with it. They'll make it back. They'll make it back.
But I
No,
also
they-
think, like, with Sony, like, Sony has, I can't really speak for 20th Century Fox, except for, like, the Age of Apocalypse, but in the future, and Wolverine 3 and Fantastic Four, but, like, Spider-Man, Sony wants to do a movie every year for several years, so they already have a roadmap, so does 20th Century Fox, so I feel like once they kind of get to their, like, destination, then they can talk about it, but all they can think about is making money. And they want to make money off of, because we don't know how much money they spent to get these licenses or how much they're paying every X amount of years to maintain them. But they all have a plan to make money, and they don't want to share that money.
Mm-hmm.
Awful. It's
So they know
awful.
we're gonna go see it regardless. So
Yeah.
it's just we're gonna go see it. We're gonna
out.
gripe. We'll complain, and we'll go see it, and they'll keep saying ha ha ha, and then we'll go see it, and yeah, and then we'll still be wishing, like Matt said, please.
All right.
Right.
So,
It's like, I mean, I'm a huge Thanos. Like, I love Thanos Saga. I love everything about the Infinity Gauntlet. And there's a lot of characters that are in the X-Men universe or the 20th Century Fox universe that are impacted. You really can't, at least comic-wise, you can't fulfill the true Thanos Saga without getting some of those characters.
Like Spider-Man. 'cause
Spider-Man, the Thing. I mean, like, those characters are very vital.
Wolverine.
Wolverine to the original Thanos saga. And I'm really interested because, albeit a very small part, Spider-Man played a critical part in stopping Thanos. So, how are you going to change that? I mean, I'm sure Marvel will find a way, but they're already making it quite known that Thanos is out there. We've already seen him. So, maybe there are in talks. Maybe there's some that has been said that, you know, in 6-7 years we can have Spider-Man for a cameo.
7 years. Darn you, Sony.
So,
anyway, who's the clairvoyant guys?
that's what I wanted to ask.
I think it's Zola.
Do you?
It makes sense when Sitwell had said that little quote on the rooftop about that, you know, he has access to everybody's files and he's able to predict everything. That's basically what Coulson said in the last episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I don't think we've seen the end of Zola. I think he's going to pop up on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Isn't Zola like a lasting villain in the Captain America universe? Like, is he like a robot, like a full body robot?
He's basically like his body is like this robot with a little camera on it, and his face is in the chest, which kind of looked like the computer console with the little camera on it, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So I feel like in Captain America 2 they set up a lot of villains, and they could go a lot of directions.
Yeah.
So I feel like with Zola and I forgot his name, Baron.
Crossbones.
Crossbones?
Oh, yeah. Rock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even
Yeah.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has introduced a lot of villains too.
That we never see again.
Villain origin stories. I'm pretty sure we'll see them again in season 2.
Let's hope so. All these villains set up. We need some heroes to guess star.
Well, that brings up a good point. I'm curious if you guys paid attention to it, but when the three helicopters targeting everybody, we saw Avengers Tower and we saw Stark, there was a lot of other names that came up, and I was trying to read some of them to see if they were familiar names, and it went by too quick, and I can't wait for the Ray to like freeze frame that. Like, the only name I was able to catch, it was either Michael Linden or Linden Michael, and I googled the hell out of that name, and nobody came up, but I'm sure there's got to be names on that list that are going to play into the future.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Strange's name popped up.
Who?
Stephen Strange's name popped up.
Stephen and Tony Stark, and it was somebody Michael Linden. I couldn't catch any of them.
They also made mention when Sitwell said something about the valedictorian in Iowa City.
Iowa. Yeah,
They were
I
talking
heard
about
that
Moon
too.
Knight.
Were they?
Were they?
Yeah. They were talking about Moon Knight in that part.
Because I was thinking about that. I was like, how am I gonna Google valedictorian in Iowa and get anything? So like, I'm glad you knew that, because I was like, I know that's got to be significant. I'm sure it is. I just don't know how I'm gonna find it out. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely freeze frame that too, because I as soon as they threw the names up there, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know that's important. Probably that
Yeah.
one right there, but
I was trying to read all of them the second time through. It's like it's going too fast.
I'm really excited. This movie made me excited about the direction Marvel is going, and just not in the movies, because I was always excited about that. But in television as well. And some of these I don't know, have you guys seen all these shorts? I haven't seen some of these shorts that they've been talking about.
What
Where-
short?
One shots? The one shots?
Yeah, the one shots.
Yeah.
Those are very significant.
No.
What?
Where? Look, I'm like, where?
I know, because I was reading about them. I'm like, oh my gosh! I
So
need to like.
Where
all
was
hail to
that?
the
I'm
king.
like living under a rock.
Are you going to make me Google right now while we're online?
Where can you watch them?
Are they with?
They're on the Blu-rays.
Are they with the DVDs? Like when you buy them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
on the
Iron Man
Blu-ray.
3 had Peggy Carter, and Thor had the All Hail the King with Trevor Slattery picking
Yeah.
up the Mandarin storyline.
Shame on me.
Oh, boo.
How relevant?
all hail
How
to the
relevant are they?
king.
Are they that important?
The
The
All
one
Hail the
shot.
King was a pretty good epilogue
Yeah.
to Iron Man 3, which kind of explains some things. And
Really?
then Peggy
Okay.
Carter
Yeah.
could set up a Peggy Carter TV show that they've talked about.
Mhm.
Aren't they in the works? Isn't that in the works?
I'm not sure
Supposedly.
how official it is. They're supposed to be working on setup for it.
Because I believe we're going to do another one on ABC along with the Netflix TV shows like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about those too.
Sorry, I got. Oh, so one thing I'm sad about is that. So yes, I know that Black Panther is owned by Marvel, but Storm is owned by 20th Century Fox.
That's why they're divorced.
That's what makes me sad because they can never do a Storm movie. They can never do an authentic Storm movie that's non Halle Berry.
Whatever.
They
Halle
split up.
Berry. Oh, that's.
We were still happy to see her at Comic-Con, even though we're like, can we have a different Storm? We were still happy to see her.
I just. X-Men is. I don't know.
It could have been, anyways. Yeah.
Like. I'm gonna wrap up here, guys. But before I do, I want to know your favorite part of this movie. Yes, you have to pick.
Oh,
one.
gosh. We have to
I
pick
know.
one?
Oh,
Really?
gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Since everybody had that look on their face, I guess I'll start first to give you some time to think about it. And it's so funny because my favorite part of this movie wasn't really that significant. It was the part where Kat would go and visit Peggy in the hospital, and she's talking to him, and then all of a sudden she kind of loses her memory for a second, and it notebooked me, man. I was in there like
For real.
Yeah, for
hold
real.
it together, but it was just that whole part that was so like emotional. I was like, I love that part.
For real.
That was literally one of my. I mean, the whole movie was awesome, but that was one of my favorite parts that maybe people just didn't really think about. So, all right.
You're here, girl. It's just so touching. That was touching.
So, right? All right, so who's got one? Who can I call on? Let's see. Meeny, miny, mo. Antonio.
I guess my favorite part is when Cap and Winter Soldier finally like fight because a lot of the lines and choreography that actually happened in the comic, like his fist hitting his metal arm hitting the shield, that was in the comic, and the whole him saying Bucky and he's like, who the hell is Bucky? That was all in the comic. So I thought that was really, really cool. That was my favorite part.
All right.
And the fight was just amazing.
Yeah, it was.
It was. All right, Jason.
Oh, dang it. From the beginning of the movie to the end of the credits.
Right.
Man, if I had to pick one, it probably was not the old scene with him and Falcon or pre-Falcon, which I really like, but the opening, basically the action scene on the ship. I love the action of it. I love the dialogue between him and Black Widow. Like I did not the two of them, Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, had the chemistry that they had in that movie, and just the way they were just like bantering back and forth, like during the fight. The fight scenes were incredible. The soundtrack, like everything, really worked well, and that's where I first felt like my statement earlier that I was like, wow, this feels like a Bourne Identity movie. Like, I can't believe this is Captain America. Like, I think that scene basically set the action for the rest of the movie.
Yep. Okay, Matt.
Does the post credits count?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I mean no. The entire movie was excellent. For me, the best part to me was what set the stage. Maybe this is just bouncing off what you said, Jason. This is what set the stage for the movie, and that was just the first 5 minutes. I remember like being at the edge of my seat, like, Jesus, like, who taught him how to fight like that? Like, who taught him how to bounce a shield off a wall and like literally Spartan kick this guy like 50 feet off the ship, like he's never coming back. Like that scene, the reason for me was to begin, like Jason, like what you said, like in the literal sense, like literally the beginning of the movie was what just set the stage, and then the ending. House of M is one of my favorite sagas in Marvel history. So Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, we knew they existed, but just to see them even for 30 seconds, just really like made it right. Like, this is happening. Like, these characters are really happening.
Okay, and Lana.
I gotta say my favorite part was War Games.
Shall we play a game? Yeah.
That was good.
I just, going there, finding the bunker, and just all that information. Oh my gosh, I was really, really, really very blown away when all that information was coming out, and we find out what's really been going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't like a fight scene so much, but it was just, that was mind-blowing to me. It really was. So I have to say it's my favorite part.
Yeah. A lot of information. Natasha?
If I had to pick a scene, it's definitely when Nick Fury was trying to get off the grid. He got attacked, and he escaped. That was just so badass. I was so concerned, especially when the Winter Soldier put that bomb under his car. I was like, oh my gosh, no! And then he managed to escape. I was like, yes.
Why didn't we talk about that? Why are we just now talking about that scene?
Why? I don't. Why?
Or like the scene where you thought he passed away. I was having 10 fits in the movie theater.
All I could think of was Coulson, and I kept thinking about Hawaii. I was like, he's not dead.
Yeah, no.
Cut his brain open and bring him back.
Something has to happen.
Yeah, but that Nick, and the way that he was talking to the car, and the way that his car was responding, like, you need to do this, and the air condition is the only thing.
Right. Air conditioning. That was awesome. That was great.
I mean, the Russo brothers, you have to give credit to the Russo brothers as a screenwriter, because that movie was excellently done. The writing, the dialogue, it was just a really good movie. Oh, can we talk about Ezekiel and that ode to Pulp Fiction?
We can. Let me just get Chris's best, his favorite part of the movie, and we'll come back to that.
I was loving the banter between Cap and Black Widow.
Mm.
And that fight between Batroc and Cap. Like, they made the most joke villain of all time into a complete badass.
Yeah, they did. Doesn't he wear like a purple and yellow suit too, like in the
bandit?
Yeah.
And they still kept the purple and a little bit of yellow too, but they made it more manly.
Because I know in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, he's like always there.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man comes on, they just play the stupid music in the background and make him just a complete joke. And then you come into Cap, and he's a complete badass.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, so, and I was telling, it's funny because Chris showed me the clip again right before we started this, because I've only seen Pulp Fiction once, I know.
Yeah.
But I have a thing with gore, but yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
Well, I just thought it was cool. I love Quentin Tarantino and I love his movies, and Pulp Fiction has so many great quotes. And when I had seen the movie, when I saw Captain America 2 the first time, I didn't notice. And then I was looking up some Easter eggs, and that came out, and I was like, no, I don't think that's true. And I went and saw the movie again. I'm like, that is, I don't know if there was a Russo brother that did that or whoever thought of it. That was just genius. I thought it was really well done. If you're paying attention quick enough, it's just a line from the movie, and it's just Ezekiel 25 and 17. The path of the righteous man is just an ode to Pulp Fiction.
I noticed the Ezekiel 25:17, but I didn't notice because it was so quick. I couldn't read what it said underneath it, and so I didn't know that was significant. Again, because I had only seen Pulp Fiction once, and I thought that was really cool reading it. The movie in general, you're right, was just done so well from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Can we just say how adorable it was that the Falcon was telling him to listen to Marvin Gaye? And then he played it in the hospital. That was so cute.
And then he pulls out his book with like the little list. I love that. That was super cute.
And I think Star Wars was checked off, wasn't it?
Was it checked off?
I think it was. It was crossed out.
Star Wars, and then it said it's track instead. So he picked Star Trek instead of Wars.
It's like little stuff like that makes the movie so endearing, because it's, it's got its little funny stuff, and it's just, I don't know, that's why I love it.
There was also a few creator cameos in the movie, too. Like, the guy who wrote the Winter Soldier comics, he was there when they were resetting in Winter Soldier for the next mission.
Wow.
Is his name like Ed I can't say his last name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Oh, and of course the Stanley cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
I do want to say that I really love what they did with Sam Wilson's character, or the Falcon.
Yeah.
Because, I guess for people who don't know, but like the way that Marvel, when they first created that character, it was in the 50 years ago, and it was a stereotypical black guy who was a pimp and a thug and just everything that's wrong. That was a stereotype back then. And Marvel came out and said that they've been trying for 50 years to really recover that character. And when the Russo brothers and the screenwriter presented the new origin for Sam Wilson, they were very, very excited to have that character revamped, and they were really proud of what the Russo brothers and the screenwriter did with that character. So I'm really proud of what Marvel did to reboot or re-origin that character.
Mm-hmm. That's when rebooting is healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Marvel said they didn't know what to do with. Like they wanted him in the movie, but they didn't want to bring out this stereotypical black guy and he's a thug and all this stuff. It just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't sit well in today.
I have a question. When did Cap get his shield back, or did he always have it when they escaped?
It's gonna be on S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm telling you. It just dropped into the middle of the water, and I don't know. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. keep showing that freaking thing in the background.
No, I mean when they got arrested by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Maria Hill helped them escape because they had took all their stuff. So where did they get all their stuff from?
I always assumed
Antonio.
it was a truck with them, which was stupid on their part, but I just assumed because it's his wings. Where was his wings?
Right.
I just assumed they just had it sitting on the floor in the back of their truck with them, or maybe Maria was somewhere, I guess. That's just one of those things that, I guess, fan fiction, we just got to figure it out on our own.
Fan fiction.
I was wondering about his wings. I was like, wait, he's busy firing a gun. When did he have time to go back and get his wings from the car? Wasn't it all burnt up and, exploded or whatever? I was wondering about that, too.
I just assumed they threw them in the back with all their stuff because they were locked up anyway.
That brings up Goofy. I don't want to nitpick at the movie, but when Natasha was all disguised as the older British lady, and the next thing you know, they were in the helicopter. She was full costume. When did she have time to change?
Right?
That's a really good question.
I would say that it was probably under her, or actually it couldn't have been because she would have had the gloves on.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I guess you're just not supposed to pay attention to, but to nerds like us, we know it.
It was nanotechnology. She pressed a button, and she was.
She had on a new outfit.
And that's what happened.
Okay, I have one more nitpick, and this is what you guys don't know is that DC and Marvel are having a crossover because one of the owners of Shield, runners of Shield, what Dr. Lau or Mr. Lau, like he was in Dark Knight Rises. Do you guys remember that when they were in Korea or China, Shanghai? Yeah. And I was like, I just found that really interesting that he did a DC movie and then he bounced right over to being an owner of Shield or part owner of Shield, runner of Shield.
Well, he's also the go-to Chinese actor because I've seen him on a ton of TV shows. Whenever they need a Chinese guy, it's him.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, I know that guy. Like, he was in a DC movie.
Wasn't he on Arrow, too?
I think he was on Arrow also.
He was on Arrow.
Yeah.
He's on a lot of stuff.
Well, heck, Charles Whitmore is running S.H.I.E.L.D., so...
Well, I hope if he's on Arrow that they provide some continuity, right?
Well, he's dead.
Well, never mind.
There you go. There you go.
So Arrow took place before Dark Knight Rises.
No, because he died on Arrow. He died. Joker killed him.
Well, yeah.
He just died twice in DC just to come over to Marvel and die again.
I mean, where's your production assistant? Like, does no one notice these things? Like, surely someone was like, excuse me, sir, like, he died already in the DC universe. Like, yeah. And he's just a human. Like, you can't bring him back.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap up, but I want you guys to tell everybody where people watching can reach you on the internet, Twitter, website, whatever. So we'll start with you, Antonio.
You can find me at Antonio Jones on Facebook and at AntonioJ31 on Twitter.
All right, Chris?
You can find me on Twitter at Hooligan10 with a W.
Hooligan.
Okay.
Hooligan.
I like that.
Jason?
Well, on behalf of the Nerd Truth, my partner Jesse Lynn couldn't be here. We operate under the spirit of Chris Chen. But you can find us on Facebook at the Nerd Truth. On Twitter, we're at Nerd Truth, no the. Personally, I'm at Jedi Spider 626, and Jesse is at the Seventh Candidate, which is TH Candidate. Yeah, that's where we're at.
I love that, Chris Chen. All right, Matt, where can we find you?
One half of Blerds on Nerds with Lana, and you can find our podcast on iTunes, Blerds on Nerds, and you can also find us on Twitter, where we usually hang out at Blerd Nerd, and then you can find me on my personal Twitter at Blackcliff.
Natasha?
I'm on Twitter at WillCat12 and also as at The Nerd Element.
Okay, and Lana?
You can find me all over. No. You can find me the other half of Blerds on Nerds, the Blerds on Nerds podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Also, our YouTube channel, Blerds on Nerds YouTube channel with audio and a couple of videos up there. Also with the Nerd Element and thenerdelement.com.
Yep. Yep, and you can find me at Anime23, also at the Nerd Element for Twitter, although Natasha does that very well, so I just let her handle it most of the time because I suck at Twitter. And the website, thenerdelements.com. So I just want to thank all of you guys for joining us. I know it's late in the East Coast, so I really appreciate it. And this kind of wraps up our little movie review. So we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.